Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 112. Lamar, we have a special guest with us, sir.
We have Len Kabasinski here, martial artist, film director, actor, everything. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Well, thanks for those titles. I'm not sure if they're all correct, but to some people or not. But thank you very much. But yeah, thanks for thinking of me, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for this chat, man.
Well, we got to get into it because you're saying you're not these things, but we're familiar with your stuff because I've seen Swamp Zombies 1 and 2, and I got to know what came first, because you have martial arts in your film, and then you also, of course, are doing like the actual choreography and everything. So what came first? Was it the martial arts or was it the film?
Oh no! I've been in martial arts most of my life. I'm over 47 years old now. So yeah, I've been in martial arts literally my entire life. So I still compete. I'm on a good run lately. So certain federations I belong to, like Pennsylvania Karate Ratings Association. I think I've won 11 state titles through there for Pennsylvania. Some regional titles through like Professional Karate Commission and things like that. Different federations you can join and then compete throughout the regions and stuff. And so no, I'm a martial artist first before I'm a filmmaker. And yeah, you know, some people would debate the filmmaker thing even too, but the martial art thing you can't. And you know, I've got some accolades there. I just got my master's rank in martial arts, so I'm no longer Sensei Len. I'm Master Len. Nice. I got that about a year ago, this month, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that martial arts was always first. But then I've got some legit, you know, theatrical training. Instead, I'm talking stage theater training in hand-to-hand combat. Lots of Shakespearean weapons, broadsword, rapier and dagger, those kind of things. I got that years ago, 26 years ago now, through the Society of American Fight Directors, which is still around actually. So cool. I got some certifications through them, and I started in stage theater for probably, I was in stage theater almost, I don't know, almost 10 years. Before even my first film, before Swamp Zombies 1 got rolling. So, you know, martial arts came, fight choreography training came, because everybody that knows karate think they can choreograph fights, and it doesn't really work like that. Choreographers don't necessarily have to be great martial artists, and you know, kind of thing. It's like a coach in football doesn't have to be a former great player, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't use a lot of stunt people and stuff in my films. Everybody kind of does their own stunts normally. So, you know, I got to create fight scenes suited to that person's ability. If they can't do a spinning roundhouse kick, I don't put a spinning roundhouse kick in their choreography, kind of thing. You got to play to everybody's strengths, and everybody has those.
Well, playing off the choreography, so musicians study other musicians and actors study other actors. Do you study other choreographers and like know the history of all that and everything?
I'd say yes. I wouldn't say I copy or mimic much of anything like that, because I don't. The choreographers I like are like legit, like SAG, you know, Screen Actors Guild guys and stuff that have done stunt work and things. I would say Jeff Pruitt is probably what I would consider the greatest fight choreographer for film of all time.
Okay.
He did a lot of movies throughout the early 90s, like Martial Outlaw. I mean, crazy ass fight scenes and stuff. Jeff Wincott in Martial Outlaw gets inside a Russian circle where these guys are coming at him, fighting him, and he's picking up dumbbells and punching him. And really crazy, innovative stuff for the time, you know. We get desensitized when we see some of the things come along, like the hyper action movies like John Wick and stuff. And I like John Wick a lot, but when you break it down, there's really not a lot of martial arts in it. It's sprinkled here and there, sure. But you go back to the 90s with, you know, the blood sports and you know, those kinds of pictures of the world there. They're martial art movies. There's tons and tons and tons of kicks and punches and choreography involved there. So yeah.
Now, going off of, you know, of course, who inspires you now, what movies, like any type of movies, whether it be martial arts or just any type of film, what inspires you in your work?
What inspires me is just films that strike chords with me in some fashion. I love my post-apocalyptic movies, but most people were like, it's blasphemy not to like Fury Road. I hated Fury Road. Mad Max took a back seat in his own movie. I hate that. I hated that about Fury Road. I appreciate the filmmaking. I'm not debating anything that Miller did in that film, but give me the Road Warrior any day over Fury Road. I want Mad Max to be the star in his movie, kind of thing. So, and I liked the villains more like Lord Humongous and stuff like that. But what inspires me is right, films that I can connect with, that can say, hey, I loved the works of Cirio. I call him Cheerio. I know that's not how you say his name, but I believe it's Cirio H. Santiago, who did a lot of stuff for Roger Corman, like the Angel Fists of the world, and real low budget, kind of still maybe lower six figures. So not micro budget indie stuff that I would do, but still really, really low budget stuff like Angel Fist. I've got the poster for Dune Warriors hanging up right over there. David Carradine is in that and things like that. So it's really about some of my favorite films don't contain tons of martial arts at all. When you say science fiction, I would have to say my favorite science fiction movie is an action movie called Nemesis, with real life kickboxer champion Olivier Gruner. But there really is not, there's hardly any like martial arts in it. I think he does one spin kick and he might punch a couple people, but it's tons of guns and a real cool cyberpunk story and things like that. So it's not just, people think, martial arts, when I do my thing, but I like all kinds of stuff, and the stuff that inspires me is just stuff that I feel there's some kind of connection that I really liked, either from my childhood. Of course, I like crazy fight scene movies like No Retreat, No Surrender Part 2 is definitely one of my favorite B movie karate movies, that kind of thing. Of course, I like Wu-Tang. Of course, I like Shaw Brothers. Out of that stuff, I would say Five Element Ninja is probably my favorite of their works there. But of course, Cynthia Rothrock. And the list goes on of B stars throughout the years kind of thing. And I put B in quotations because they're A-listers to me.
Same here.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that, actually, a film I watched of yours recently was the Challenge of the Five Gauntlets, and you got to work with Leo Fong. Like, what are some people that are on your list of people that you want to work with?
It's hard to say because everybody would want to work with somebody like again, one of my other, I'd say top 12 maybe favorite movies of all time. I like Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is one of my favorite movies. I like actors like that, that really seem to, when they get into projects, what I like in an actor or actress for that matter is somebody that's really buying in to the process of what you're doing kind of thing, because that's going to make your movie better. They're not just showing up because they want to be in a movie, and you deal with that a lot in micro budget cinema. Hey, we're in a movie, and it's ho hum, great, I'm in it, and then they go home at the end of the day. But you don't know what level they buy into that kind of thing when you get people like that. So really, I'm a pretty chill surfer guy for attitude guy for Pennsylvania, and I'm really open to anybody that just buys in, treats people good. Divas will hate me and I'll hate them because I'm real blue collar. I work an 8 to 4:30 day job. People think it's PetSmart, but it's actually not. I've never worked at PetSmart. I'm sure it's a great company and all, but I've never worked there. I've worked at a VA hospital for 15 years, so I serve veterans of the United States of America.
Nice.
Well, we got to talk about then your new project, Pact of Vengeance, because that stars, Leo Fong, and how did that come about, and what was the process of getting that made and everything?
Well, like I had mentioned about seeing Challenge of Five Gauntlets. Thank you very much, because that's the most personal story I've written. I don't think I'll write a better story than Challenge of Five Gauntlets. For those that, real quick, and then I'll get to your PACT question, because this will all tie together. In Challenge of Five Gauntlets, I wrote that story. My mom passed away, 7 or 8 years ago now on Mother's Day of multiple system atrophy. So kind of a rare disease. It's not fun to watch a family member kind of disintegrate in this fashion. But anyways, it's a horrible disease. When I wrote Gauntlets, the disease in the movie the little girl has, who's played by my real life daughter, it's not really described or anything like that. So, but I thought, what? When I wrote this, I'm thinking of my mother. In real life, I can't, cure my mom's disease, but I can write a movie where I can win, and everybody wins and stuff like that in the end. So it was a very therapeutic process for that. But I was at the gym working out one day, just brainstorming, because my mind's always going about what projects and how I want to connect things. And I said, what? I need somebody to be my dad or mentor kind of figure in Challenge of Five Gauntlets. So, and I thought of Leo. I thought of Low Blow. I thought of Kill Point. And I said, I wonder what Leo's doing. And Leo's, 90 years old at this point. And I messaged him on Facebook, not thinking I would get a response. And by the time I was done working out 45 minutes later or so, he had already contacted me saying,
oh, cool.
Ben, what do you have in mind or whatever? And I'm like, hey, I've got this movie. It's Challenge of Five Gauntlets. It's, you know, this, that, and this and that. He really liked it. He liked the script. He still writes scripts. He's 93 years old now, and he's still writing scripts going forward and has projects he wants to do, kind of thing. So, you know, that's how that all came about. And he flew out to Pennsylvania at the time. Of course, there's no COVID or anything like that at that time. So we got rolling, and I kept him in mind for future stuff. I did a movie in between Challenge of Five Gauntlets and Pact of Vengeance here called Hellcat's Revenge 2, where we shot in a prison in downstate Pennsylvania here. But I really didn't have a spot for Leo in that one, kind of thing. That was filmed like right before all the pandemic got crazy and stuff. So but going into Pact of Vengeance, the original Pact of Vengeance, Leo was always involved. I don't think I could do the project without him, kind of thing. So thank you, Leo, as always. But Leo was involved. Myself was involved. John Mickle Thor was involved from the beginning, from Rock and Roll Nightmare. He was going to do a soundtrack kind of thing for it. But musically, I kind of just let him run with whatever. That's kind of his expertise. I let John Mickle Thor, who still has my favorite soundtrack of all time in Rock and Roll Nightmare. I think it's the best metal soundtrack of all time for a movie. But you know, he was always involved. But to start off, Matt Hannon, who played Samurai Cop, was attached to the project. And this is obviously before the pandemic started shutting everything down. Then the Trump election was all, you know, he was pretty shaken up by everything that went down there. Matt was. So, you know, he's a cool dude. I definitely work with him in the future, but I think Matt really just wants to do, you know, Samurai Cop stuff. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but, you know, the impression he kind of gave me is they were waiting around for funding on Samurai Cop 3. And I never wait around for anything, because if I do, then I never get anything done. So, you know, I mean, I'm a go-getter when it comes to these kinds of things. And when I thought about replacing Matt, when it looks like finally the script, by the way, was written like 3 or 4 different times. We went through different phases, changed male characters to females, swapped around a bunch of stuff. You know, when the Blu-ray or 4K, because this was shot in 4K, Pact of Vengeance, when that comes out, I'm sure I'll have a feature where you can read the different stages of the script and stuff. The script that had Hannon's character involved, then it kind of expanded. And then I thought, you know, go back to my roots, you know, Swamp Zombies one day, even though I didn't know really what I was doing filmmaking wise in Swamp Zombies. That doesn't mean I didn't have a plan. And I did. I had a plan of get people with names that would draw eyeballs to my film, whether it was an adult film actress like Jasmine St. Clair. Adult films have rabid fans that watch anything with these people in it. So I got Jasmine St. Clair. She was really cool. Blue Meanie was in WWE and ECW. And surprisingly enough, at the time, it was her boyfriend at the time. And there we go. And you know, it was easy to get him involved. And he was a super awesome dude. You know, so Pam Such was more of like a fetish actress and fetish film actress and things like that. So I got all these people involved. Dan Severin was a UFC champion and all this kind of stuff. But going forward into Pact of Vengeance, I thought, you know, when Matt Hannon dropped out, I'm going to go back on my plan from the first film I ever did and get some wrestlers involved. Who do I think is up and coming? Who do I know I can afford, but yet they'll do well in the film and things like that. And it also allowed me to get some more ethnicity into the film and stuff. I got Diamante, a Cuban woman there, Priscilla Zuniga, who better known as Diamante in AEW wrestling. She was involved. Peter Avalon is involved. Peter Hernandez is involved in the film now. So, and I'm really, stuff I do believe happens for reasons. Sometimes we like them and sometimes we don't. But I think this time it worked out because I think Pact is a much, much better movie with Diamante and Peter Avalon involved.
So going off, like, your films keep getting better and better. Like, in Five Gauntlets, I thought looked really cool. Like, they had a really good look to it and everything. But as an independent filmmaker, how difficult is it to balance everything you have going, plus like a day job and like a child and stuff? Like, are you just never sleeping and working out?
It's a strange balance, but you know, when I'm filming, most of it is, you know, for example, Pact of Vengeance, for example, we filmed 4 days in a row in June, took a break for 2 months, filmed 4 days in a row in August. And then we came back at one other set of dates. In LA with Leo, and we filmed 4 days there. So we broke it up, spaced it out a couple months. I felt like everybody got energy, that kind of thing, because it's really a grueling process. Editor in photographer Steven Steinbacher could tell you that. He's probably going to say, fuck, Len, this is the hardest thing I ever fucking did in my life. And so, but that's good, because now I've propelled you and challenged you, and you'll only be better in the future from that. So right now they're all like, probably like, fuck, Len, oh, this is so difficult. You know what I mean? But you'll be better for it, you know? Yeah, it was a strange journey for the film, and yeah, putting it all together. It's we're in post now, so it's looking like this spring it'll come out, and off we'll go. You know, day job. Yeah, I've worked an 8 to 4:30 day job for 15 years at a hospital. So as I mentioned, no PetSmart. I'm sure it's a great company. I love animals, but yeah, I've worked at a hospital forever. You know, what else? I have an autistic child, Kane. I mean, he talks and goes to school. He's a verbal autistic child. So I mean, the sky is still the limit. He's 12, so we don't know really where he's going to fall. But if it turns out where I take care of him for the rest of his life, and you know he lives with me, I mean, so be it. You know, giving my life to somebody else isn't wasting my life, kind of thing. I believe that was said in Rambo in 2008. So, and I think that's a very, very, very good quote to live by. Yeah, there's never a dull moment, and I'm starting a Nirvana cover band here coming up. Nice. So I go to band practice this weekend, you know, kind of screw around with that stuff, see where that'll go. So the band stuff, it's got to stay fun for me. If it gets really dramatic, I'd be like, yeah, this isn't going to be for me, kind of thing. So yeah, in my life, there's never a dull moment. I'm not really sitting on the couch too much. Sometimes during the week, I'll get home and I'll just be like, man, this is my day off. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit here with a screwball on the rocks and watch Tubi. So yeah.
We love Tubi. Tubi is really growing with their stuff. Yeah. Like they just have like oh man, I'm surprised that, well, Joe, you told me that they're doing like more their own stuff and everything.
Yeah, they got some originals and stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That being said, I'm not sure how much that's really their originals, or they're doing the Blades Trauma thing where Trauma didn't make Blades. They purchased it and got to slap their name on it. I did watch one of the Tubi originals called Swim, and it was not, you know, the best thing. But that being said, Tubi, I'm your man. You come to me if you want zombies and karate and boobs and stuff, and we'll make a kick-ass movie. I'm the man to do this. I don't need a $7 million budget. Give me like 1.2 and we'll get this rolling. So Tubi, sign me up.
And I guess that leads to this question. Like, what do you tell people, like, because we always ask about, like, you know, filmmakers coming into the business and everything like that. What do you tell, like, you know, young filmmakers that just want to make films? Because I feel like with B movies, you have to cut corners, but you're doing it for your vision. You're doing it for your passion. What do you tell like filmmakers that are really serious about making their own type of films?
Yeah, the first thing I usually tell them, for some language here, so you can beat me out if you want, but the first thing I tell them is fuck what anybody would say about you, because you know, you've got to be yourself in these projects and these low budget things, because you're fleshing out your ideas, your vision, and you might not have the budget or the resources to pull it off, but you're still out there putting yourself out there. So you can't buy into criticisms of people that you know are going to say this is the worst movie I've ever seen. When they say that about my stuff, you know, okay, fine, but really, because I've seen some really, really bad stuff. So right. Oh yeah, well, even back in the days when Amazon Prime wasn't so choosy, let me tell you, I've seen some things. So, you know, people are like, Plan 9 from Outer Space is the worst film ever. Oh really? Hold on, hold my beer for a minute here. So, but yeah, it's Tubi's got such a large budget now. I think they're really surpassing a lot of other stuff. Plus, they get to put ads in their stuff. So I'll live through a couple ads if I can see the first Power in HD on Tubi. I mean, I'll put up with a couple ads and things like that. So yeah. The first thing I said, you know, aside from fucking with people saying just doing it, you know, I've got people now that either belong to my Patreon or still buy my films that were here from the beginning 17 years ago with Swamp Zombies. So, you know, those people aren't just there for the material. They're there because they believe in me, or they just like my works or whatever. But, you know, those are the kind of people you want around, because they're always going to love you. And that's because you stay true to yourself, you know. So they're always going to be there because they love you. Don't listen to people, what they say. Do your thing. You know, you're always going to, don't read into too much criticism and stuff like that. You'll know when a criticism in that time in your life is going to really propel you and make you better in terms of, you know, that kind of thing. The person that's going to say, your friend's the worst movie ever. But okay, fine. But why? If you tell me why it is, I might be able to pick something from there and I'll make a better movie in the future from it. But, you know, the girls that are just out there, oh, you know, Len's an idiot or whatever. Okay, Okay, but tell me why. I want to know why.
Cool. So for me, growing up, I was a martial arts fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Chuck Norris. Do you think that the genre will ever have like a big resurgence again, like it used to, just martial arts in theaters and like it used to be and stuff?
No. Honestly, no. I think it was its own moment in time.
Yeah.
Much like genres that you think might come back, but they really don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, will we ever have an 80s post-apocalyptic B-movie explosion like we had in the 80s when Roger Corman obviously saw The Road Warrior and then made Raiders of the Sun and Dune Warriors and, Equalizer 2000. I mean, I could list a ton. Steel Dawn with Patrick Swayze is one of my favorites.
Yes, we love that movie. That is really good.
That is the essence of martial arts in that movie, in terms of story and philosophy and stuff like that. So Steel Dawn, ladies. But honestly, no. And now you think, could it happen in, I know people want to keep saying Scott Adkins' name and stuff like that. I don't mind Scott Adkins. His voice is tough for me for a whole movie if he's got a ton of lines, but that's my problem. You know what I mean? That's not Scott. Don't kick my ass, Scott. But it's kind of a rough watch when he's got a ton of lines and stuff. Even paired up with somebody like Isaac Florentine, who I would consider one of my favorite directors, who did like Desert Kickboxer, a movie I loved in 1993 with the late Paul L. Smith. James Newton, I think, played the Desert Kickboxer. But anyways. Isaac Florentine did a Van Damme movie. He did the one in the desert or something in Shepherd, I think it was called.
Okay.
Not Arizona Heat or whatever that
Desert Heat. Yeah, I was like,
that one.
Yeah.
No, not that one. This one was definitely an actiony movie that I was really impressed with. I think it was called Shepherd. Anyways, Isaac Florentine does that. He choreographs a lot of the fights in his films because he's a martial artist as well. So, I mean, if I had to pick a director, I wish could bring that platform back, I'd probably pick Isaac Florentine to do it. I really don't know who that next star would be. Yeah. If I had to predict something, I would predict it's going to be a female, to be honest, that would bring the genre back. That's just a prediction of mine.
That sounds about right because, they are, really looking for like new, like, female stars, well, actresses that are really like, kind of like, make movies, more, I would want to say the words woke, but the problem is that it's more trendy now. So I think if they did bring back like, an actress that was like doing martial arts and stuff, it had to be something like straight up real martial arts, like just something badass. So
I could see it. I mean, and well, when we talk about, bringing back martial arts and stuff now, isn't it back already though? I mean, with Cobra Kai and things like that.
True.
I get what you're saying, but cinema's dying, dude. I mean, COVID's eliminated theater stuff now. Now you can watch a premiere on Amazon or whatever. You can buy it early and pay $20 to see it, or which I have not done, by the way. But you can. It's available. I would say right now, if they had a special presentation of Jaws 4: The Revenge, I'd pay the $20 and watch it on there. So, that kind of thing. Theaters are dying, man. So do I think martial arts is at the forefront? Maybe it is. What's hotter than Cobra Kai the last 4 years?
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But, those are the things that I think really bring martial arts back, so to speak. I don't think we'll ever see a theatrical run of anything like that, of any magnitude again. But you know what? When we think about it, how long a run did Van Damme really have?
Yeah,
5 years, 6 years.
He had a good little run there before he. Until Street Fighter.
Right, until Street Fighter kind of ended him, and that's at the height of his, cocaine abuse and things like that. But so you figure Street Fighter's what, 90?
Yes.
95, 96? Yeah, around that time.
Okay, So, Bloodsport wasn't a hit. It's a hit now, but it wasn't at the time. It wasn't some box office sensation. Cyborg, which I love dearly. I could watch Cyborg over and over and over again. But again, underrated. Not a box office sensation. So, when does he hit? He hits probably, I would say, Kickboxer, which I think is a great movie. So, Kickboxer's 89. He's got a run to 95. So 5, 6 years. That's not so long a time. I mean, what's shelf life? It's like a running back in the NFL. What's your shelf life really? 5 years, maybe, of good, solid production? Look at Steven Seagal. I just watched Marked for Death, and I thought, man, this guy was really cool back then.
Yes. He had the 3 good ones. Was it 3 or 4? The early ones.
I liked Under Siege 2 better than 1, to be honest. I liked
really?
I liked part 2 better. I liked the story better. I like the train setting thing. I liked part 2 better. I like Eric Bodnosian as an actor from Talk Radio who played the villain in part 2 in Under Siege 2. I just like 2 better. And there's not a lot of martial arts in that movie either. But Seagal's just starting to expand his waistline in that movie a little bit, though. And then we did Glimmer Man, and then we knew it was over.
Once
Glimmer Man hit, it was over. But even he had a run of 4 or 5 movies. I really like Fire Down Below, though. I do like that movie, and that was probably his last theatrical movie, really.
We've had a great time with you. Tell everybody where we can contact you, where we can see all your content, all that kind of good stuff, social media, everything.
Social media, it's real easy. I'm on twitter.com/KillerWolfFilms. Same thing with my Patreon. If you want to know the best way to support my works, it's sign up to my Patreon. It's only $2. You get to download my movies like Challenge of Five Gauntlets, like Hellcat's Revenge 2, all the new stuff. But I got older stuff on there too. You can download or watch whenever you want. Fist of the Vampires, Swamp Zombies. It's all on there. So that's really the best way to support me. I know this stuff is on Amazon, and I appreciate anybody that's watching it anywhere because I just want people to watch them and get some enjoyment out of them. But really, the best way to support me, Amazon Prime. If you watch it there, you're gonna give me about less than a penny a watch. So my movies are on there, but that doesn't mean I'm actually rolling in the dough there. That's not going to get anything done. So join the Patreon. I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of content on there from Fist of the Filmmaker podcast, from where I'll talk about experiences I've had in film. I've got a Forgotten Movie Den that I do with Joe Esposito from Ozone Late Night. We usually talk about some B movies we found that we should bring to your attention, like Razor Sharp, for sure, something like this. We'll talk about some B martial art movies and horror movies and stuff. So yeah, aside from my movies, there's lots of content on there, behind the scenes stuff, Pact of Vengeance stuff. Patreon.com/KillerWolfFilms is where to go for all that stuff. Facebook, I'm at facebook.com, Len.Kabasinski, but you don't want to go there. It's just me and my pictures of my kids and stuff on there. So if you want movie stuff, go to Twitter, go to Instagram. Same thing, Len.Kabasinski. You'll find me on Instagram. Again, you're going to probably see some Pact of Vengeance stuff and then me laughing with my kids or something. So awesome. It's on there. Go to Patreon.
Cool. Well, everyone do that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, man. We appreciate you.